Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. It's where are we? Wow, time really goes fast. I know we all are feeling it. It is speeding up in so many ways, and it's a beautiful thing. So we're just going to go with the flow, right? Not push. Welcome to your IDMA monthly meeting. My name is Suzanne O'Brien. We are again at March 15th. And we start out by sharing with you the latest in what's happening, and then open it up to any of your questions about patient cases, about business building, about anything you would like to share. So I just want to make sure that I am not missing anyone as they start to come in. Stacy, there you are. So let me make you co-host if I may. That way, we do not have to worry about people not getting in. Okay, I'm just going to admit the people coming in now. And we want to hear all about what's happening with you, but we have some really exciting news. I feel like we always do. I think that we're always trying to keep up with the pulse of what is happening in the world and what you're asking for. And sometimes that might take a little bit of organization and how to do that. So we have some announcements. We'll make an announcement today and just let you know what's going on. And then, of course, following up on the beautiful doula houses that you've wanted to do and that we want to do, and how we can do that. So, all right, Stacy, you are officially co-host. So take it away, my friend, when people come in. Welcome to IDMA. It is March 15th. We're going to start off by talking about Doula House. All of you, and again, look, we have an elder care crisis. We know this. We have an elder care, we have an aging, and then we have an end of life crisis, right? Because people are going to have their end of lives. We know that not all end of lives are elders if you're blessed enough to live a full life, but that's not always how it works. So, making sure that we know at the end of life that we are talking about all different ages. But for right now, let's talk about the mass amounts of aging and elderly that we're not set up for. Why are we not set up for it? Well, I think there's two things. I think number one, we've never seen this before in history. Never. You go back, you study history, 100 years ago, average age of life was 47. Now it's 80, 81. That's huge. So you also saw what's happening with our medical system, which again, boggles my mind in a country that, is supposed to be, up there at the tops of what we have. The healthcare system is fragmented, it's struggling, and our healthcare workers are killing themselves and people are just not getting what they need. So there's many different reasons for it, but okay. So those are the observations. Now, what do we need to do to try and solve this crisis? So it's multi-leveled and multi-folded. And the first one is bringing aging and death back into the natural fold of life, because we've removed it. We've handed it over to the medical system. There's no judgment here, but I do have to make an observation. We have an aging population. I don't know where the huge split was that we just sort of let our elders go off wherever they go off into nursing homes. And look, there's no judgment here. I'm not trying to be judgmental, but I'm talking as a society where we've made that the norm, that they go into nursing homes, that they kind of are outcasts more or less because we just don't really value them. We don't care for them the way that we used to. And again, I'm not judging anyone. I know that here's what happens when we live so very long, when we know how to extend life to keep somebody breathing. What comes with that are huge issues of cognition, mental, financial, physical. So now families are under immense burdens trying to care for people with dementia and with these underlying health crises. Some of them can't even ambulate on their own. And it's really, really a heavy lift. And so a lot of times people end up in nursing homes for multiple reasons, but we need to do more. So we need to bring back let's go to the end of life and reconstruct this, kind of reverse engineer it. We've got to bring back the awareness, and we're doing that. You all are doing that in a beautiful way, that death is not a medical experience, it's a human one. and it can go really well with the right education, kindness, and support. Boom. You want to be at home? 9 out of 10 people want to be at home. How do we make that happen? We make that happen with education. We make that happen with doula givers. Multiple ways. Just the awareness of planning ahead with advanced directives. What would it take for me? I'll use myself as an example. I want to be at home, or yeah, I want to be at home. I have some ideas, of course, I think we all do as we start to get creative in this area. But what would it take for me to do that? So who would care for me? Are they comfortable caring for me? So I want to put those things. And again, we know, just like a birthing plan, that it's not going to work out just the way we thought. Those of you who have had babies, yes, it's beautiful to have a plan. Doesn't always go the exact way that we thought it was, but we have a blueprint, we have a roadmap, and then of course we adjust as needed. And that roadmap is not only beautiful for you, it's beautiful for your families. It gives them a container to follow when they have all these emotions going on, and this grief and fear and all that's going on. Here's the roadmap that I've designed for me, and this is how you can support me and love me and channel that energy into that. So again, planning ahead, we don't know what that's going to look like when we get there, so we like to do that. But doula houses, so I don't want to get on I never want anything to be negative. However, we do have to be clear about a couple of things. So I have not had the best success with seeing beautiful nursing homes, and I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm just saying that they're really pretty much what we've got for people who need somewhere to go. And I haven't seen a whole bunch that I would want to put my family in, or that I would want to be in. I think, and again, I want to pull these articles out. There were 2 articles, but one was written about somebody who took cruises because it was cheaper than her to go in a nursing home. I've done the statistics. They're in your care consulting course. What it costs for a nursing home annually, it will blow your mind. I think I want to do a comparison about, and I was going to use Charlotte because just Charlotte, North Carolina is a beautiful city, but I was going to compare what it costs for that nursing home room and what you could get in Charlotte. I was going to do it in New York City too, but I don't think it will be as impactful. However, it's mind-boggling the amount of money. So I'm just thinking, where is that money? It's not in staffing. We always hear that there's staffing shortage. And we know that time is our most important medicine we have to give. It's not even putting some pink on the wall. I mean, come on, guys. It doesn't take a lot to create a loving space. In fact, one of my hospice families that had the most loving home lived in a little trailer, and it was so warm and loving and inviting, and you can make beautiful things without having a lot. It's the energy you put into it. It's the thought. I don't see that in mass nursing homes. So anyway, we want to go back to people want to be kept at home, but we're going to need other options, because not everyone can keep somebody at home, but also we have people, there's almost 20 million people that don't have their own children. So it's usually an adult child. So you've got this whole, and we're just dealing in the United States right now. So what do you do? What do you do with that? With people can't keep somebody at home? And what do you do when somebody doesn't have family or at home? Well, doula houses are a great answer. They'll have the doula giver philosophy. There'll be a home. They'll be, made with that love. And they're not easy to accomplish in the United States. There's a couple of reasons. However, we're going to get there because we don't take no, right? We find a way. You got to find a way. My frustration with hospice houses that have been okay, so each state has their own guidelines with how they can be set up, how many beds. And in New York State, which I was in for a very long time, and by the way, New York is my home, 2 beds, 2 beds. That is not meeting the need at all. It's a beautiful thing, but it's like, what are we doing here? So we really want to find out what's going on here, and there are ways. So on April 3rd, I'm going to have a sit down with a one-on-one with the Omega House secretary. Kim Adams is amazing, and she's going to fill us all in on all the details on how you can start doula houses, what you need to know. There are different states with more beds. There are ways to make that happen. So what I'm going to do is post a thread in your IDMA, and any questions you want me to ask her, put them in there. I have a good list already, but I think this is a beautiful option. Rolling that back for the aging population that are not end of life, I think we want to have doula houses and doula communities being thought about or built out with those little beautiful little tiny houses for people maybe don't have a lot of resources. Just creating community again, just creating spaces for this aging with interaction, socialization, checking in on one another, making sure people have their meals. This is not hard. We've just really gotten away from our humanity. No judgment, observation, maybe a little ping of judgment, but not meaning to. More like what happened here. So let's start with the doula house with Kim. She's going to already had a preliminary conversation. She has a wealth of information for you. So it's going to be pretty exciting. And the second announcement, let me get a sip of my tea. I've given up coffee more or less. So just, I know, it's going well. Yeah. And, but that's okay. So, and no judgment there either, just seeing how a little bit of a caffeine break would make my body feel. And so far, pretty darn good. So the second announcement is we've been hearing you and hearing you and hearing you. We also did a survey for you. What are your needs? What are your biggest blocks? What are your biggest challenges? And it's more business building. It's more coaching. That's what, is needed. So we are starting the DS IDMA, and that is going to be every single week. So it's going to start in June. I'm just giving you a little bit of an overview on it so you can know what's coming. But we haven't done an official announcement. We'll let you know that. But I want to let you know what that really is. So it's going to be a high level for the high level DS with mentorship, coaching, and business launching. So within the IDMA are going to be, the DS IDMA are going to be a few really great things. First of all, it's weekly. So it will be every single week so that you keep up your momentum, bust through your blocks, get your coaching. The first week is going to have an accountability pod and also a 30-day goal sheet. What does that mean? So you come, you set your goal for what you want to do in that next 30 days. It's exciting. We get a plan. You have to set intention. You have to take steps, not big steps. You've got to take one step at a time to build that momentum and really to get things done. That's a way to do it. The second week is going to be practicum, workshop, and accountability lab. What is that? That is roll up your sleeves and do case studies, do business launching, like we're doing the work. So if you're like, well, how do I do a Facebook page, business page, or how do I, talk to a hospice, or how do I interview a family? How do I share my pricing? This is all done in the labs. That's going to be every second week of every month. The third week is going to be a doula self-care meeting and happy hour. So we get to debrief. We get to make sure we're doing self-care. This is intense work. This is the hardest work I've ever done. It's the most rewarding work I've ever done. And when I used to at hospice have a case that was intense, that went well, because we're going to do everything in our ability to do all we can to serve that family, you know what I would get? Great job. Here's your next patient. And I needed sometimes a 3-week vacation. That'll kill you. And it's killing healthcare professionals. So third week is doula self-care. We're going to share tips on meditation, on how are you doing. We're going to debrief from cases. We hold that grief too. We fall in love with our families all the time, and have a happy hour of just celebration. And then the fourth week is going to be the evaluation of the 30-day worksheet, the accountability pods, and the Q&A. You're going to continuously be moving that football down the field. And I don't know why I use that analogy, but I do, because if you have a son like I do and was a single mother or just a son, you understand sometimes what it takes to just keep moving forward. Keep moving forward, getting that first down. And again, I'm sorry if those of you don't really understand football, but this is important. We can see that the mountain can be so high and things can be overwhelming, and then we put it off and we put it off and we put it off. And this is a way to bust through your blocks right away. You're going to have designated student support. You're going to have your own email to a student support for that DSIDMA that's going to answer your questions like this. It's going to be designated just for that, the team that's in there. And it's going to be great. Another thing that's in there that is it my favorite thing? I don't know. It's hard to pick. Like, do you have a favorite child? Probably not, but okay. And if you do, don't ever say it, but okay, only to yourself. Inside IDMA DS is going to be something called Scholars. And that is going to be a division where those students who qualify, those people who qualify, are going to be able to teach workshops with our materials. We're going to give it to you. The level 1, the care consultant, and elder care. You're going to be given the presentations, be able to charge for that out in your communities, turnkey. You don't have to do anything. It's going to have your announcement. It's going to have your presentation. It's going to have your handout. And then, of course, what we recommend for you to offer at the end or to build up your email list, or both. This is going to be something called Scholars within the DSIDMA. So many people have been asking to teach for so very long. It has to be done correctly. It has to be structured correctly. It has to stay in its integrity. But we're so excited to be able to offer you that in the new DSIDMA. So that will be in June, but we'll do an announcement for it with all of the details in May for you. And of course, you can ask any questions. Just know that it's coming. Know that if you really want to, there's nothing that's going to hold you back from sharing your gift with the world and being of the highest service. And I'm excited to be able to share that with you. The third announcement is your Doula Giver Awards. You all are changing the world. Things that have been coming in, and it's not it's not that something that is this grand thing that somebody has to do. It's actually the little consistent things, showing up for your community, maybe your church, hosting a death cafe at your library, just consistently sharing the message. I think that there's so many great examples here of people who have done that and really stayed in that so it's, again, and this is something, because we're going to really work on mindset in the DSIDMA as well. If you connect your success or worth to a number, to an outcome, you're going to miss the point of all of this in life. It's about showing up consistently and being of service, and those things will happen. You have to have patience and you have to have trust in that. And I know this, believe me, I'm at the forefront of trying to do something like this new. And I tell you all at the very beginning, when, a couple of no's, I was like, what? This is the answer. I said, okay, if I help one family, it's a win. Do not give up. And look where we are. And every time you put a post out or you do a library event, you're planting seeds. You're planting seeds, and that's so important. You're helping somebody to lower their fear, know that they can contact you when the time comes, whatever it may be, or all of it. And this is really, I want you to think of the enrichment in you is every time that you are able to do things like that. And then the families, yes, there's nothing like being able to share that space and hold that family through this journey that's so intense. It's like such an honor, and that is going to come. So all of you, I really want to bust through mindset and keep us on track with that. And the Doula Giver Awards are just such a beautiful example of all of you who've been doing that. Been showing up for people, you've been talking, you've been educating, working with families, talking about advanced directives. It is so beautiful. So if you have anyone or yourself that you would like to nominate, just go ahead and put that in. We need that by the 20th of March. Then there's going to be 4 of your finalists that are going to be on the next, in April, the IDMA. We're going to play their short videos, and then you all get to pick who is your beautiful doula giver that inspires you the most. And you all do. Y'all do. So it's an exciting time to just celebrate each other. But I also know that for those of us who are not quite there yet where we want to go, it's great to have a model to look up to. Hey, how did you do that? That's the other thing in IDMA. We're going to have a spotlight on the graduates sharing how they did it, because there are doula givers that have been really successful in certain things. It's great to hear from me. I like to share what I've done, and I've done this and I know a lot, what works, what doesn't work. But what about one of your senior doulas or your doulas who are out there? Hey, how did you actually do that? How did you talk to that hospice? What did you use? Let them help you. So we're going to have spotlights in the DSIDMA with graduates sessions called How They Did That. So you can be inspired by that. Okay, let's open it up to the floor. Please raise your hand, your digital hand. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. And I said New York, but I love Florida too. I really do. It's so beautiful. There's so much sunshine here. When they say it's the Sunshine State, oh my goodness, it is really lovely. So thank you, Tracy, for that. You have a reactions bar. You may not on your particular Zoom, but most people do. If you go down and press reactions, like I'll put up a heart there. There's also a hand that you can put up, a digital hand. So if you want to ask a question, share a story, bust through a block, go ahead and do that, and we'll go in order. I will also check the chat to see if there's anything in the chat. Oh, Sherry. Yeah, go ahead, Sherry. Pop on.
I couldn't find the hand thing on my
Okay,
computer.
that's okay.
I can find it on my iPad, but so I'm just gonna pop in and say that this is real personal as far as I'm on a monthly vacation where I'm like on sabbatical,
Good.
and it's been really good because
Good.
I've been having a lot of health issues and stuff,
Mhm.
and I am so over it. I'm like, I'm getting all good news, and I'm having a surgery on April 1st, and it's going to be fine. And I've been like walking and pacing myself. So I'm doing a lot of activity, but I'm pacing myself. So I'm really getting stronger, and I've been working on spending a lot of time on meditation and being creative, and it's just really, really been something I've never ever done, where it's been just me for the most part for the last couple of weeks. And it's been like the biggest gift for myself. And so I've got a lot of, introspection, and yeah,
Yes.
and I've slept better. Like we talk about the self-care, and
Yes.
we never put it in. So anyway, I've put it in, and then I met another doula giver who is in the program. She's just starting, and she loves it. And then I met some other people who are so interested in what I do, and they, are eager to learn more. It just, yeah. Anyway, so I just wanted to say, when we set the time aside, we really have to make sure we do it. And
Yeah.
it's the biggest reward I've ever had.
Beautiful. Sherry, that is so good to hear. And we are surrounding you with so much love. But here's the thing that I want to share. Do you all realize how much stress you're under? I mean, it is relentless. And we've been taught that that is the norm and that's great. In fact, I remember when I was in nursing, when I was doing OR nursing, because my dad was a former surgeon, and he would be up, at night, you're on call. And he had, he raised us somewhat with the mentality that the harder you worked and the more you were just go, the better you were.
Yes.
So I'd come in the middle of the night, being up all night, go back to the shift. And he's like, great. Like, and not
Yeah,
great, not great. Look,
we learn that way.
if it was balanced, but it wasn't balanced at all. It was
No.
literally, kill yourself. So Sherry, this is so important for us all to hear, because we know to do it, but we don't necessarily do it.
So one thing, like they say I had a stroke.
Mm,
The first time I've ever said that. I had
okay.
like some kind of a TIA where I lost my vision for an hour and a half.
Okay.
So I had, complete cardiac workup
Mhm.
and it was wonderful. I'll tell you why, because I wasn't worried about it at all. Like I was like, yes, I want to get all the tests done. I want to see where did this plaque come that ended up in my eye. I
Yep.
wanted to find out and stuff, but I wasn't worried about it at all. And so I did not tell very many people about it because I didn't want to bring in any of the negativity.
That's right.
And so I told very, very little, very, very few people. And in the meantime, I'm completely fine. Every every vessel in my body is fine. So either one of two things, but yeah, I'm like, maybe it was misdiagnosed, but it wasn't because I saw it on the scans.
Yeah.
But I yeah, I still have a lot of leg pain. Plus I have hip and knees and my meniscus is torn off my kneecap right now. And I've been dealing with that. So I've been dealing with that for a long time, but I'm going to have the surgery to get it fixed now because I've given up so much of my physical activity, fun stuff, and social stuff. So I am going to get that fixed. But I just have to say, I've been happy ever since they wrote that stupid thing on my chart that I've had a TIA. And everything is good.
Hmm.
So I felt it was all along, and I wasn't hiding in the dark or ignoring it, but I was positive, and I've just been feeding myself, you
Yep.
know, like with
Yes.
like Dr. Joe Dispenza's book and just all kinds of, the quantum doctor,
Hmm.
just I've been feeding myself and I've never felt so good in my life, even though my leg kind of does hurt a lot.
All right. I want to, if I may, I'm
That's
so,
it.
so happy for you. I want to talk about signs for a minute. Okay. I want to go into the spiritual part of our being and what we talk about. And the universe rerouting you, sharing with you, you're not, got to give you a really clear one this time. Got to go this way. And those signs come in. And I feel like, Sherry, that's a perfect example about something that is a real moment, right? Somebody telling you that you had that experience, and then you saying, and I'm the happiest. It's like you were driving down the wrong path or just not in your alignment. Not that you weren't doing great things, but not in the place that really matches, what you're supposed to be doing, like fully, in joy, in service, and in the flow. And so rerouting you that way, and sometimes those off ramps can be painful, but we get them. We can't ignore them, right? So that's really
Yeah.
amazing. And yeah. And so I'm so happy for you. And I think that we all have to really take that in, because if we don't make the choices intentionally where we want to and how we want to live, they're going to be giving us the rerouting. And if we don't reroute, guess what happens? It's like your GPS, it says rerouting, you're going to get rerouted again if you don't go again down the road. And you don't want those, because those can be really difficult if we don't pay attention to them.
It's just very important that
Hmm.
we find the good to focus on. So
Yeah,
even when the things are going bad, and especially with our
always.
patients, and a lady I was just with earlier, she's like, how can you be so happy all the time when you're, um, you know, talking about death with people? And, if we can get it across to people, the perspective of it all, and we can focus on, always look for something good because there's something good in it all. And for example, maybe that's a time you get to be closer with your loved ones because you make the time, or, whatever it is, look for it, you'll find it.
If you look for it, it's there. And then on the other side of the rerouting signs, if you're doing your thing and you're on your path, you're going to get signs that you are on the right path. You're going to have a bird come to your window. You're going to have 444 show up like it shows up for me. And I love telling that story because they had to drag me out of the city, literally, because I did not want to leave. A year into pandemic, I did not want to leave my friends. I did not want to leave my city. I did not want to leave my home. And I tell this story all the time because to talk about, getting pushed. So you'll get like little pushes. And finally it was my apartment. I couldn't live there and I had to pack up a car and go. And 6 hours plus to my next destination, it said you'll arrive at 444. Now you don't have to always like it, but they're telling you you're on your path. And one of the things that I have learned is try and take your hands off the wheel. Trust that there's a bigger plan and look for, and I love that you said that, Sherry, what is the gift here? What is it sharing? And what's the positive here? And you know what? It's been the most amazing journey. So I still love New York and I'm going back in the whole thing, I'll show you, I'll post that in your group if you haven't seen that, because you can't make this stuff up. I'll go to a code check, 444. And so that's the sign of angels that you're on your path. And so it's nice to know. I mean, even though we know it because we feel it inside. So just know that it's there if you set the intention. And the other thing that I want to share is an idea for you. And this might sound interesting, but what if you lived your life with every choice that you had to make, you were thinking in terms of, is this good for me? Is it good for me mentally, emotionally, spiritually? Is it good for me, this choice? And not be attached to the outcome. And I'll just share a personal thing here. So my mom's 85th birthday. My sister flew in from Boston last night and surprised her. And she sent me a text and she's like, I just want to share with you, like I just got here and for the last hour, all they're doing is talking about, I'm sorry, guys. All they're doing is talking about the bridge game. Like she just flew in and you could tell she was really upset about that. And I said, you're not going to change her. And you have to have no expectation. Like you have to go there because you wanted to go there to celebrate. Whether she's going to be present or focused or happy or complaining or all of that, don't go with the attachment of having her act a certain way or and she'll have a great birthday and I love her. My sister's a little bit more like controlling and that's fine. There's no judgment. But what if and I said, you know what? I'm going there for me. I'm going there because I want to celebrate my mom. Whether she is going to complain the whole time, which I guess the cat's out of the bag. She complains a little bit at this point. But I think sometimes as people get older, I feel like when they can't do a lot, I feel like they complain a lot because that's what they can do. But I'm going for me and I'm going because I want to celebrate her, whatever's showing up on the other end. And I was like, wow, wouldn't that be interesting if we really looked at every choice that we had to do in our lives with our families. And again, in a healthy way, because this is really establishing very healthy boundaries. And again, I'm not talking about not being of service. I'm the exact opposite, but is it feeding you? Is it feeding you or are you compromising, just saying yes, 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 and you're depleting yourself? Because what we do is we end up in really bad shape. So I think we have to make sure that we're doing the self-care and that we're balancing things out and that we're releasing all of the results and attachment of things so that it doesn't pull us this way and that way. So I'm just putting it out there because I think it's a really important thing to do because I know as women, we're running it. I mean, what did Beyonce say? Women run the world. She's not kidding. If we were put in more of the positions, my gosh, this would be a much better thing, but we're mothers and we're daughters and we're service of our community. So it's a lot. And then we end up depleted, which we never want to be. We want it to be soul food and filling us up, which it can be in the right balance. So just think about that. Sherry, thank you for trusting us all and sharing that with us. That was really beautiful.
Yeah.
And rock on, girl. Love it. Love that beach right there with you. Stacy.
Hi, Sherry. You know we all love you. We think you're wonderful. But Lee has a good question in the chat, and I thought you might want to answer that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for letting me know. Let me just find, because we are scrolling. Yes, hold on here. So yes, we definitely want to do self-care and put it in your calendar. Put it in your calendar. And don't put it at the end of the day like I used to do. And then guess what happened? The end of the day would come, get pushed, work, and I'm like, okay, well, try again tomorrow for that walk. Get it in there so you get
No,
it done.
no, it's Lee, and she says I'm a trusted doula giver
No,
specialist.
I
And
know.
well,
I
okay,
was
all
just,
right,
I was just filling in while I was looking for it. Thank you, Stacey. I
all
got it.
right.
Yes, Lee says, I am a trusted doula giver specialist and well sought out and referred based on my experiences and positive outcomes. I feel so grateful for this role. However, my own mother is deeply in need, but refuses my comfort, guidance, or direct help. It is so draining watching her needlessly suffer, and she expresses to her friends that her family doesn't do anything to help her. Do you have any suggestions for how to approach her life? Okay, so Lee, I'm going to sit with you in a minute here of heart connection, because I feel like my mother's going to do the same thing. So I want you to know that being a daughter and a doula giver and a family member is very different than when we practice with other people. And it's really hurtful and hard. So first of all, I have been in so many cases coming in as the practitioner that I've said something, suggested something, and the person was like, oh, it's a great suggestion. Thank you so much. And then the family is like, the daughter's like, I've been telling her to do that for like 2 weeks and she won't listen to me. So there's something about the dynamics with family that sometimes bringing in an outside practitioner. So one of the things I would say is, who's the medical provider, who's the nurse, who's the hospice team, getting them more instrumental on training with your mom on things because they may listen to her more. Now, the statement that she's telling her friends that you all are doing nothing, I love you so much. And I know this is going to come up because my mom kind of does this too sometimes. And you're going to have to, you're going to have to settle into you, knowing that you are showing up and doing everything for her. You can even, in a non-confrontational way, with love, say, Mom, if it's appropriate, I was talking to Mrs. Adams, and she mentioned that you had said that you felt your family wasn't doing anything for you. How can I help you? I've been asking to help you. How can I help you? So kind of putting the onus back on her, because sometimes people just like to not play games, but say things to get sympathy or whatever it is. Look, we know that all this stuff bubbles to the top. So the two things that I'm going to recommend for you, and then anyone else can add anything that they want there, is putting more of the instruction on a medical team, even with your guidance on, can you ask her, if she would try this or do that, or even bringing in somebody. So it's not a family dynamic. And then with love, and we know what that energy is like. So when somebody says something, it's not the words they say, it's the energy that they say it with. So making sure that you come from a place of knowing that your mom is probably fearful or whatever's going on with her, and saying, if it's okay, I've heard that you have shared that we're not doing anything for you. Mom, I don't want you to feel that way. I feel like I've been asking you. Tell me now how I can help you, and let's do it. So those are two suggestions for you, but I share with you in that because I know it, and it already has been when my mom's been ill. She's very, very challenging. And so I'm with you on that. So again, sometimes separating that this is not about you, that you are showing up in the highest level, and it's about her within this. So thank you for sharing that. Judy Aracy.
Hello, how was everyone today?
Hi. Good.
So I had just a couple of things that I wanted to share, and one of them actually is, fits right into what we seem to be talking about today, and that's self-care. And I had a group of college students reach out to me, and they found my name on the Doula Givers site, And they were looking to learn more about doulas and what they do and people in the end of life care. And what they're doing is they're putting together this application specifically for end of life care workers on how to make sure that you do self care on a regular basis and what that looks like.
Yeah.
I spoke with them yesterday, and it was really interesting. They put together all of these little suggestions on self care, and as I said, it's specifically going to be an application where hospice workers, doulas can go and find ways to make sure that they're doing that through journaling, meditation. There's going to be links where you can attach if you're looking to meditate and so forth. So I thought that that was really kind of interesting and very cool.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why, again, we're having a whole day meeting designed just self-care, because we can
Mhm.
share how important it is, but we've got to hold each other accountable to doing it. You've got to
Mhm.
and you've got to find what works for you, and also people, I don't think they understand that there's many different ways to meditate. There's walking meditate. There's just so many different
Mhm.
things. Find what really lights you up that you can incorporate into your day and then to do it. But yeah, I think that we see the burnout within mainstream medical. I mean, it's just terrible. And we see it just with people in general. And this work is intense. So for me, it's a requisite of you doing the doula giver work is that self-care is part of that. So thank you,
Mhm.
Judy. That sounds very cool. What
Yeah.
company is that? Do you know the name of the company?
It was Olin College, actually. So I've had a couple of meetings with them, and I was actually really surprised at some of the stuff that they came up with. I'm like, these are
Nice.
really great ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, super. I love it.
And
Well,
the other thing I just wanted to share, and I'm kind of excited about this, is the hospice organization that I do a lot of volunteer with approached me last week and asked me if I would be interested in helping them start some grief workshops.
nice.
So we're going to kind of do a pilot program at one of the facilities that I do a lot of volunteering with and
Yeah.
see how it goes. And then if it works out well, we're going to kind of open it up into the communities. And then I thought this would be a really good thing to go to like my local library and maybe
Yeah.
say, hey, I have this grief support group. So I'm excited to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah, that's beautiful. The more things that we can engage community and show up for them, the better. And we know that grief is really heavy. Why? Because we're not addressing end of life at all. It shows up
Mhm.
and people are just stuck in these containers. Thank you, Judy. Keep us posted on those.
All
I
right.
love
Thank you.
All right. Dawn.
Oh, shoot.
Hey,
Hi, Dawn.
uh, yeah, well, I sped my way here. I signed up in January and finished,
Great.
graduated, did my test. I was scared, but I did it and got a 93, so what the heck.
There you
Uh,
go.
this is my first meeting here.
Well,
And
welcome.
my question specifically, I'm here in San Diego, and I, was relating a lot to what I was hearing from Sherry. I have been disabled for a while, but I'm still going to do this work. So my question specifically is about teledoula and how, you
Yeah.
know, do you do it completely that way? And how is the trust established, doing that online as compared to, being in person, or do you do like half and half, or I haven't had the opportunity. I think I just realized there's something about a teledual webinar somewhere. I'm
Yeah.
overwhelmed. I have so much to take in. I
Well,
sped
you
my
know what? So welcome to the group. So it's your first time here. It's beautiful. So let's just take a deep breath in because it can be overwhelming. We don't want it to be overwhelming. There is a teledoula training. We're going to do teledoula in the new IDMA, literally how you do it. But let me just share with you in a, not a nutshell, maybe a walnut shell of a nut. It is all done in technology, and I'll tell you why. Now, if you're in a position where you have a client locally, because this is something you have to get very good at as well when you, and that's why the business building, the 6-week launch is very important. When you have a business that you're building and you're going to be doing in-person visits or meetings, you've got to make sure that you're going to be very clear on what is your service area, how far are you willing to drive? If you're going to drive longer than that, how long is that meeting going to be, especially if it's for even a consultation, but even a follow-up, because you want to keep track of that time. Remember, it might be a half hour there, but it's a half hour getting home as well. So, and if you're going to be doing that, so if you, again, have a client within your service area, so let's just say you picked a service area of an hour distance. If you have a client within that and you wanted to do an in-person meeting every other month or every month with the caregiver, but then the rest is on technology, then that's perfect. That's going to be a limited amount of people. So there's going to be people that you do that, but your teledoula does not have limitation to any geographical area. There's also a lot of people, and I'm going to be very honest with you, there's a lot of people that do not want another physical person always in the home because of the dynamics in the family, because of people are very private. It's end of life. I'm in my shock phase. I don't want people coming in. You're going to work with that main caregiver on technology the whole time, guiding them, establishing trust. It works beautifully. I was doing teledoula before COVID because we just don't have doula givers everywhere, and it works great. Literally, you know, on technology through people actively dying worked great. The person's telling me what they're seeing. I'm telling them what they should, you know, suggesting or call hospice, not disrupting the sacred space or the family. I'll tell you, a lot of people prefer that. And it's a wonderful business for you because you don't have any limitation to who you can serve and where.
And you rely on the caregiver to report on, you know, safety issues or acute issues or.
Yeah, you walk them
Sounds
through.
like that.
Again, the question. So what we're doing in the new, so not the IDMA, but the new DS version is that you're going to have.
What does DS stand
manuals.
for?
I'm sorry?
What does DS stand for?
Doula giver specialist.
Okay, thank you.
So, okay. So it's the only course that we offer now for pay. And it's that high level full spectrum end of life care practitioner. You're going to be getting for each of the certifications, you're going to be getting a instructor manual for you, and you're going to be getting a client manual. So you're going to be able to send these off, the client manuals, or share them with clients, and it's going to walk you through exactly what they need to know. You don't have to try and figure it out, what they need to assess for, what they need to, like, it's all there, no guesswork. So it's really exciting. So you'll do the same thing with Telly. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, just wonderful.
Yeah. And
Glad
I
to
think
hear it.
yeah, thank you so much. I think you have more doulas in your area. So anyone that's you're in San Diego? Yes. Okay. So yeah, because as we're growing, you want to meet other beautiful people in your local area. It's so nice to get together.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dawn. So look forward to that. It's going to be exciting. Shay. Where did Shay just go? Did she pop? Oh, there you are. So you just have to unmute yourself, my dear. Sorry. The microphone. If you click on that red mic, and I think you're on a phone, it looks like that. Okay, got
How's
it.
that? Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Okay, perfect. So good morning, everybody. I just wanted to share, I kind of had a pretty huge breakthrough for me with a family. It's the family of my best friend of 30 years. And after 6 tough weeks, I got these very loving and very abrasive people to actually reach out to hospice, and they got hospice there in the last week. But it was a lot of blame, a lot of blame and shame in that family. And what I found was my biggest go-to when talking to the 2 sisters, one sister was the main caretaker, was just to kind of lower the expectations and accept that everybody could only do what's on their heart. And that was a huge lesson for me as well, because I had all 3 of my remaining parents had major surgeries and medical issues over the past 4 weeks. And one of my sisters is not showing up because she can only do what's on her heart. And I think that's kind of just been the best resolution. I keep finding myself saying that to different people in different situations. And they're like, but, and ranting and raving. And I'm like, yeah, but she can only do what's on her heart. And there's no forcing anybody to do anything or show up or, you know, go beyond their capacity to give. And that's just been a huge lesson that just keeps popping up over the past few weeks. So just wanted to share that.
It's a big one. So surrounding you with a lot of love for all that you have just been doing. And we've got to always come back to that. Like, you know, and that's why it's so important to ground ourselves before we go into family homes. Because listen, everyone's stuff bubbles up, fear gets misdirected. There's 30, 40 years of history. And so really seeing each person and then with no judgment, and I love how you share that, she can only do it on her heart, is something that we've really got to not only remind ourselves that, but also within the family dynamic, because it's always that way. And, you know, I've had people have blowout fights. I've had people stop speaking to each other because the person didn't show up and they weren't doing it, resentful, and all of the above. So if we can practice with that, and I will tell you this, that them showing up as best they can, first of all, no judgment, but it's for them because, you know, maybe, most likely, they might look back on that time and maybe wish they had done things differently. So just giving people the opportunity, but again, think of where we are right now, and we're not talking about end of life planning for it. And then your loved one, your mother, your father, whoever that is, has an end of life. It shows up really quickly. It's like crazy. So everyone's dealing with their own stuff. So it's a very intense time. I don't have to tell you. And I love that. So just keep reiterating that. And even for ourselves, you know, sometimes if we think that somebody could be doing a much better job, try and have that compassion as well, and remember that they're going through. But it definitely within the family dynamics happens all the time. Usually with the adult children, I have found, but it can be with other people as well. It depends on the family. Thank you, Shay. That's a very good awareness. All right. Anyone else have a question? I'm going to check the chat box. Okay. Yeah, so the new DS upgrade is going to be all of the DS people, which is doula giver specialists. You're all going to be given all that information grandfathered in. So that's just going to be upgraded in your classroom. We'll let you know when that's all in there. That was a question that was in the chat. But for me, and you know, I've been doing this a long time, and I continuously always want to be learning things and trying to do the best that I can. Accountability, having the ability to break through a block when you hit it quickly really helps move the needle and not lose momentum. And also mentorship. So I've always tried to find people who I think represent ethical, beautiful messaging, awareness offerings. And how are they doing that in that way? And so asking them questions or getting in a program that helps me be better at what I'm trying to do in this space as well. So that will all be part of that forthcoming IDMA. And I'm so glad that we're able to do it. And I have to tell you, because we know it's needed, because you've been asking that for quite some time now, really had to reconfigure my schedule so that we can do that. So we've been working on that for the last probably 5 months, and we still have a little bit to go. It's going to be on a different platform. It's going to be really beautiful. A lot of work goes into that. And I'm just really excited that that's where we are. So everything in divine timing, but we're here. So what I will do is we'll be announcing that really officially. I'll talk a little bit more about that. You can ask questions, but in May, let you know that. And I just want to put the picture of me moving to Charlotte with the 444 so that you know that like that is real. And so when you feel like you're getting a sign of something, you want to know if you're on your right path. It is all around us so that you will know. And conversely, when we're not on, we're going to be giving those signs as well. So just really being in tune to what works for you. Okay, so thank you so very much, everyone. It looks like that's it. I am going to pack up the car, head over to the the folks, celebrate that birthday, and just be in gratitude that I'm able to share this time with them. I want to thank you so very much. If you want to throw up some hearts, please do. It's so great to be with you. We'll see you in the Facebook group. If you need anything, let us know. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.